Hey there! My name is Sophia. I am a senior art and design education student attending Pratt Institute. Today, we will be traveling to a beautiful place simply by arranging paper together to make a landscape. The first step is finding a photo of a place you wish you can be right now. Is it a tropical beach? Is it your favorite sports arena? Is it a forest? Find a photo reference of this place. Print it out if you can. If not, just view the photo on your phone or computer, or check out a magazine for some possible inspiration. We're just going to go through the paper garbage to see what treasures we can find to use for our collage. I found some newspapers, toilet paper rolls, empty tissue boxes, cardboard, coupons. Use whatever paper materials you have available to you. If you have colored construction paper or magazines, feel free to use those supplies too. You're going to want to find a base for your collage first. Feel the materials you have available to you. Ask yourself, how thick is this material? How sturdy is this material? Your base should be used with something more thick, firm, and sturdy if possible, in order to support what you will be adding to it. Possible options for this can be cardboard, construction paper, or chipboard. If possible, take the entire paper garbage with you to your art making station so that you have plenty of supplies on hand. Find glue, single-sided tape, double-sided tape, or even a stapler in order to adhere your collage to your base. If you have a pair of scissors, snag those for your project. If not, that's okay. You can use your hands to rip your paper for your collage. Ripping the paper gives it more texture and depth. Take a look at your reference. What in the photo is closest to you? What is in the distance of your photo, or what is farther away from you? What is in between those two extremes, somewhere in the middle ground? Identify what is in the foreground, middle ground, and background of your reference. We are going to begin working on what is in the background first, and then work our way up to the middle ground and then foreground. What shapes do you see in the background? What colors are those shapes? Search through your paper resources and keep an eye out for a color similar to the one you are looking for the background. When you've found what you're looking for, observe in your photo reference the shapes that make up the background. You can either rip or cut a large piece of paper for the background, or you can rip or cut smaller pieces to fit together like a puzzle to make up the background. I know that everybody knows how to rip paper, but there is a responsible and artistic way to rip paper in order to get the shapes that you need for your composition. When you rip paper artistically, you are only using your pointer fingers and thumbs. Your pointer finger and thumb should be touching, and your right and left hand should be close together so that your left and right pointer finger and thumb are touching each other. Your left pointer and thumb will be slowly and gradually moving upwards, and your right pointer and thumb will be slowly and gradually moving downwards, or vice versa. They should be small movements in order for you to control the direction and size of the rips. Less is more when it comes to applying glue. Try to use the smallest amount of glue as possible and add more little by little until there is a thin, even layer over the entire backside of the piece of paper. You can spread out larger globs of glue into a thin layer using a piece of scrap paper. Applying too much glue turns into a messy situation. If you are using single-sided tape, you do not necessarily have to use it on top of your paper. In order to create a double-sided effect, hold the piece of tape on the edges and loop the tape around itself to adhere the sticky side to the plain side, making a circle with your tape. You can then place the tape on the backside of your collage paper and adhere it to your base paper if you do not want to see the tape above the paper. It always helps to lay out your pieces on your base before you adhere them with glue or tape to your base paper, so that you can map out exactly where you need to place your pieces without any permanence. Keep in mind that overlapping is welcomed and expected to happen in collages. You can make your background cover the entire base paper and layer your middle ground and then foreground on top of it later. Once you have completed your background, you are going to shift your focus to the middle ground. What shapes do you see in the middle ground? What colors are those shapes? Search through your paper resources and keep an eye out for a color similar to the one you are looking for the middle ground. When you've found what you're looking for, observe in your photo reference the shapes that make up the middle ground. Your collage does not have to be perfect or accurate by any means. You can choose how similar you want your collage to be to your photo reference. You can add as many or as little details as you wish. It's finally time to shift your gaze to the foreground. What is closest to you in the photo? What shapes do you see? What color are those shapes? Remember that you can always go back and layer more paper on top of what you've already adhered to the page if it did not come out the way you wanted it to. Now that your foreground is complete, you can add smaller details to your collage if you wish. Notice the shapes and colors that make up the details. Since the paper pieces for your details will be smaller, you may want to apply a small puddle of glue to a piece of scrap paper to glide the detail pieces over, rather than applying the glue directly to the small pieces. You can either use a pair of scissors, an X-Acto knife, or a box cutter. If you are using an X-Acto knife or a box cutter, make sure that you use a mat or some kind of cutting board underneath your paper to ensure that you don't damage the furniture underneath. Also, make sure that your fingers are not near the blade and that you are holding your paper in place in the opposite direction of which you are cutting to ensure your safety. If you wish to turn your collage into a postcard style, grab any neat pen, marker, or micron that you have accessible to you. With whatever handwriting or font you choose, write "Greetings from" whatever magical place you chose to represent in this piece of artwork. Thank you for joining me on this collage journey. You can share what you've created with us from Pratt by using the hashtag PrattYouthAtHome.